Can't find the pictures.
The regular meeting of the Wykoff Township Committee is now called to order. Can you please stand for the flag salute? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Rudy, if you can lead us in the invocation, please.
Bow your heads, please. Our God in heaven, we come into your presence tonight to thank you for the bounties we have in this sweet land of liberty in which we live. We ask that you watch over our town. We ask specifically tonight, Lord, that you watch over the leadership of our country as they travel outside of the nation on foreign soil. Bring them back home safely. We now ask that you watch over our deliberations here tonight and give us wisdom from above. In your name, amen.
Thank you. Nancy, can I get a reading of the Open Public Meetings Act, please?
This regular business meeting of the Township Committee of the Township of Wykoff is now in session. In accordance with Section 8 of the Open Public Meetings Act, I wish to advise that notice of this meeting has been posted on the bulletin board in Memorial Town Hall and on our Township Committee website page. A copy has been filed with the Township Clerk, and copies were emailed to the Ridgewood News, the Record, and to the North Jersey Herald and News, all newspapers with general circulation throughout the Township of Wykoff. At least 48 hours prior to this meeting, the agenda was similarly posted, filed, and emailed to said newspapers.
Thank you, Nancy. Can I get a roll call of the Township Committee?
Certainly. Mr. Boonstra?
Here.
Mr. Madigan?
I hear.
Mr. Malchione?
Here.
Mr. Shanley?
Here.
And Mayor Rubenstein.
Here. Can I get a motion to open the public comment period, 5 minutes per speaker for public comment on any governmental issue that a member of the public feels may be of concern to the residents of the Township of Wykoff?
So move. Second.
Mr. Boonstra?
Yes.
Mr. Madigan?
Yes.
Mr. Malchione?
Yes.
Mr. Shanley?
Yes.
Mayor Rubenstein.
Yes. Please call 201-891-7000, extension 2220, if you wish to make a comment. Hearing and seeing no one, can I get a motion to close the public comment period?
Motion to close.
Second.
Mr. Boonstra?
Yes.
Mr. Madigan?
Yes.
Mr. Malchione?
Yes.
Mr. Shanley?
Yes.
And Mayor Rubenstein.
Yes. Can I get a motion to approve the June 1st, 2021 Township Committee work session and regular business meeting minutes?
Motion to approve the minutes. Second.
Mr. Boonstra?
Yes.
Mr. Madigan?
Yes.
Mr. Malchione?
Yes.
Mr. Shanley?
Yes.
And Mayor Rubenstein.
Yes. Nancy, could you please read the consent agenda?
All matters listed below are considered by the Township Committee to be routine in nature. There will be no separate discussion of these items. If any discussion is desired by the Township Committee, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. We have many resolutions. Endorsement of Community Development Project Evergreen Court, award of contract pay-to-play solar pedestrian safety signs, authorized purchase of State of New Jersey contract for police vehicle, authorization of vouchers and payment of bills, return of certain overpaid taxes, escrow monies, etc., authorized municipal public information for the September 25th fireworks, recognizing June as Pride Month, establishing a lien, abate property maintenance violation, Block 317, Lot 2, 388 Pathway Manor. And then we have the 2021-2022 liquor license renewals for Blue Moon, The Barn Original, Jezzy Corp., Sura Corp., Wine and Spirit World, Pana e Vino Aldo's, The Brick House, Gearhead Liquors. And lastly, authorized application to the NJDOT Trust Fund Grant Program. We have two ordinances for introduction, Ordinance 1940, an ordinance to provide a certain capital improvement in the Township of Wykoff and to provide for the receipt, acceptance, and deposit of grant funds therefore, and to authorize appropriations of $52,988. Ordinance 1941, an ordinance amending Chapter 186, zoning, Section 186-22, regulations applying to all zones of the Code of the Township of Wykoff to prohibit the operation of any class of cannabis business within the Township of Wykoff. And we have two motions. Approve and memorialize amendments to the St. Nicholas Greek Orthodox Church's September 2021 festival plans based on changes to COVID public health restrictions. And approve and memorialize the proclamation celebrating the 94th birthday of former Police Chief Robert Sicoli. May I have a motion and a second to approve this consent agenda?
Motion to approve the consent agenda. Second.
Mr. Boonstra?
Yes.
Mr. Madigan?
Yes.
Mr. Melchiong?
Yes.
Mr. Shanley?
Yes.
And Mayor Rubenstein.
Yes.
Madam Chairperson, I have two ordinances for public hearing and further consideration. The first is ordinance 1938, which is an ordinance to modify and supplement Chapter 163, Stormwater Management in the Code of the Township of Wykoff to reflect the federal comprehensive regulations known as Stormwater Control Ordinance. For second reading by title only, and a copy of this ordinance has been posted on the bulletin board in Town Hall where public notices are customarily posted, and copies have been made available to members of the general public of the township who requested the same.
I move the ordinance on second reading by title only.
Second.
Mr. Boonstra?
Yes.
Mr. Madigan?
Yes.
Mr. Melchiong?
Yes.
Mr. Shanley?
Yes.
Mayor Rubenstein.
Yes. This is the time and place for the public hearing on ordinance number 1938, and all persons who wish to be heard, please state your name and address before making your statement. If you wish to comment, please dial 201-891-7000, extension 2220.
Madam Mayor, I have some items I'd like to place on the record. I would like to say that this ordinance is recommended for adoption by the township's engineering consultant, Boswell Engineer, specifically Frank Rossi, professional engineer. I also would like to add on to the record resolution number 21-27 adopted from the Bergen County Planning Board, which recommends the adoption of this ordinance, and a letter dated June 15th from the Bergen County Planning Board to Frank Rossi, our township's consulting engineer, recommending the approval of the ordinance. I also would like to suggest to you one change that the county requested, and I had an opportunity to review this with Mr. Landell before the meeting. And under the definitions section, which is section 163-8, there is county review agency. It's listed as the County Board of Chosen Freeholders. They are no longer called that. Their name is the County Board of Commissioners. So that change is considered to be de minimis or inconsequential, and according to Mr. Landell, the ordinance can still be adopted with that change this evening. So I would like to put all that on the record, and I think the governing body can move forward with the adoption this evening.
Great, thank you, and I want to thank you and Rob for all of your hard work on this. I know it was incredibly time-consuming, but we really appreciate it. And can I get a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion to close.
Oh,
Second.
Tim.
I was expecting you to say now is the time and place for a public hearing.
Oh, I already did that.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Timothy Buckman.
I welcome this,
Can I get your name? and
oh, I'm sorry,
address,
Timothy Buckman, 430 Muir Avenue.
please? Thank you.
I should have said that when I spoke before as well.
I think you did, but this is a different meeting.
I welcome this sweeping piece of legislation, which I imagine some people find a little bit intrusive, but I think it's a necessity. While my problems pale beside the unlucky citizens who've spoken to this body in the past, I do have problems with runoff from neighbors who've removed well over 50% of their mature trees and have built 1,000 or more square feet of patios and paving. The only detail I want to ask about tonight is how the legislation interacts with the Township Committee's previous, about 2 years ago, declaration that precast pavers are not an impervious surface, because permeable paving system is a category in the legislation of this hearing, but it's not a defined term in the document. So it's not clear to me whether seemed like 15% of the houses on Muir Avenue this spring had 5 to 8 pallets of precast pavers delivered, and nary a yellow building permit was ever visible in those homes. But I'm concerned about runoff from precast pavers that are masquerading as permeable when, in order to get permeable pavers, in order to get a permeable paving system, you not only have to select pavers that the manufacturer designed to be permeable, but you have to prepare 1 to 2 feet underneath those pavers with aggregate and other materials in order to achieve permeability. So I hope all of the objectives in the legislation can be achieved.
Thank you.
Hearing and seeing no one else, I move that the public hearing on ordinance 1938 be closed.
Second.
Mr. Boonstra?
Yes.
Mr. Madigan?
Yes.
Mr. Melchiong?
Yes.
Mr. Shanley?
Yes.
And Mayor Rubenstein.
Yes.
Be it resolved by the Township Committee of the Township of Wykoff that ordinance number 1938, after public hearing and further consideration, is hereby adopted, and that the municipal clerk is hereby authorized and directed to publish the notice of final passage of said ordinance in the official newspaper for the township as provided by law.
I move the resolution.
Second.
Mr. Boonstra?
Yes.
Mr. Madigan?
Yes.
Mr. Melchiong?
Yes.
Mr. Shanley?
Yes.
And Mayor Rubenstein.
Yes.
And finally, we have ordinance 1939, which is an ordinance to establish a new chapter in the Code of the Township of Wykoff, Chapter 57, entitled Restricted Areas in Buildings Where Municipal Operations Are Conducted, limited to authorized employees only, to protect and safeguard public records containing personally identifiable information. For second reading by title only, and a copy of this ordinance has been posted on the bulletin board in Town Hall where public notices are customarily posted, and copies have been made available to members of the general public of the township who have requested the same.
I move the ordinance on second reading by title only.
Second.
Mr. Boonstra?
Yes.
Mr. Madigan?
Yes.
Mr. Melchiong?
Yes.
Mr. Shanley?
Yes.
And Mayor Rubenstein.
Yes. This is the time and place for the public hearing on ordinance 1913, and all persons who wish to be heard, please state your name and address before making your statement. If you wish to comment, please dial 201-891-7000, extension 2220.
Seeing no one and hearing no one on the phone, I move that the public hearing on ordinance 1939 be closed.
Second.
Mr. Boonstra?
Yes.
Mr. Madigan?
Yes.
Mr. Melchiong?
Yes.
Mr. Shanley?
Yes.
And Mayor Rubenstein.
Yes.
Be it resolved by the Township Committee of the Township of Wykoff that ordinance number 1939, after public hearing and further consideration, is hereby adopted, and the municipal clerk is hereby authorized and directed to publish the notice of final passage of said ordinance in the official newspaper for the township as provided by law.
I move the resolution.
Second.
Mr. Boonstra?
Yes.
Mr. Madigan?
Yes.
Mr. Melchiong?
Yes.
Mr. Shanley?
Yes.
Mayor Rubenstein.
Yes. May I have a motion and a second to adjourn the business meeting?
Second.
Point of order? Before we adjourn, are we introducing this? Or we don't have to?
What are you holding up?
We just did.
We did. We did it. You voted on it already.
Mine says 1941. Did I miss the numbers?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it was read.
Okay.
Introduction, not.
For introduction.
Yeah, we were not
that-
passing
yeah,
it.
there was no
See?
public
Here.
hearing.
I got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn, please?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Boonstra?
Yes.
Mr. Madigan?
Yes.
Mr. Melchiong?
Yes.
Mr. Shanley?
Yes.
And Mayor Rubenstein.
Yes. We are adjourned.
8:14.